Hey guys, welcome to Dogo Argentino, USA, the channel where we endeavor to enrich your relationship with your Dogo Argentino using respect, understanding, and obedience training. In today's video, we are going to dive into 36 boredom busters for your Dogo Argentino. Thanks for joining me. It's your host, Nicole. Remember, Dogo Argentinos are so incredibly intelligent that oftentimes boredom can be an issue with them. So I'm going to give you 36 different activities you can do with your Dogo Argentino to help stimulate his or her brain and make your relationship stronger. Some of these activities are going to be indoors, some are do-it-yourself, some require a purchase, some will be outdoors and require quite a lot of preparation. So you should find something that will work for you and your Dogo Argentino puppy or adult. If you like how this sounds, please stay tuned and don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit that bell notification to join my community, which will notify you and your Dogo every time I drop a new video. Number 1, pet massage. Pet massage and merely caressing your pet are two different things. Massage is a specified way to actually rotate the muscles gently, to massage them to bring fresh blood supply, and you are purposely working both the shallow muscles and the deep muscles. And you can combine this with something like this, a curry comb. This was made for horses, but this gives a really nice stimulation effect. It's very soft, but you can see all the different rows of little nubs, and my dogs love it. They think it's the best. Number 2, obedience drills. You can always drill your pet anytime for a treat. And I actually think that this is one of the best ways to build your relationship with your Dogo Argentino. Sit, here's a treat. Down, no treat. Stand, no treat. Sit again, treat, treat. And using that intermittent reinforcement really helps to seat the behavior well. Swimming. Every Dogo I know absolutely loves the water, so you can take them swimming and they will absolutely love it. Although Dogo Argentinos love to swim, they're not retrievers, and sometimes they need a little motivation. I like to use a bumper. This one is a Browning logo bumper. It has a great handle. It lets me throw it, so to speak. So having the handle actually allows me to throw the bumper much farther. And they'll go out and they'll get it and they'll bring it back. It's super fun. It uses up tons of calories and is great exercise for your Dogo Argentino. My dogs actually have swum year-round this year because we never really got very much snow. We got one snowstorm where we are outside Washington, D.C., and so they swam all year. Every single month we swam, and they loved it. They think it's fabulous. Number 4, you can get involved in a dog sport. This could be something like a protection sport like French ring. It could be lure coursing, such as sometimes done with greyhounds, but also Dogo Argentinos are excellent at it. You can do barn chases. There's a ton of different sports that are fun for you and your dog to participate in. And if you live in a more developed part of the nation, you can probably find a club for almost any established dog sport. Number 5, it almost goes without saying, If you are in an area where feral hogs are a problem, whether it's in the United States, Argentina, or someplace else, if you can hook up with an experienced hunter, that is probably the single best form of exercise to actually allow your Dogo Argentino to do the job it was designed to do. Number 6, take your dog on a sniffari. So if you normally make your dog heel when you walk it, it can be fun to take it to a brand new location, somewhere you've never been before, and just give your dog free leash to sniff around. Just go wherever the dog takes you. Let him smell things as long as it isn't going to harm him, or, for human reasons it's distasteful. Maybe you don't want him rolling in deer poop. But short of that, if it's not going to harm him, let him lead with his nose. It's super exciting. Remember that Dogo Argentinos, like all dogs, have an incredible olfactory sense, much sharper and stronger than humans. So that can be super fun to just take his nose and run with it. Dog puzzles. Dog puzzles can be homemade, or you could buy a dog puzzle. And generally it's an activity that the dog has to figure out how to get the reward. There's tons of them. If you want to see a video on homemade dog puzzles, let me know and I can make a video on that. Teeth cleaning toys. Teeth cleaning toys like this are going to have a surface that has teeth where the dog can get in, and it really helps to clean their teeth. If your dog is not interested in a toy like this, you can always sweeten the deal by putting either peanut butter or cream cheese. But this one has a combination. Obviously, I can play tug, or they can clean their teeth. There's a lot of different toys of this nature, and it's really good for them. And of course, other toys that are going to be good are toys that are going to be a little bit more firm. Real antler, real bone, yak sticks. Those are going to be great dental cleaning toys. Here's a yak stick. You can see very, very hard desiccated cheese. Sometimes they're called Himalayan dog treats, and they hold up really pretty well. I would say a brand new one, this is the jumbo size, will probably last 3-4 months. They chew on it, they'll occasionally lose interest, and I do rotate my toys so it's not out all the time. But they have really enjoyed these. They bring them outside, they still remain quite firm, so they're super fun for a dog. A jolly ball. Here's a brand new jolly ball, and it is an extremely firm material. It's basically close to indestructible. They were originally designed for zoos, for tigers to play with, and they got involved with horse enrichment and other hooved animals, and then it moved to the Dogo Argentino. But it's just large enough that a dogo cannot easily get its mouth on it, and they tend to play soccer with them. They're super fun. A Sniffle Mat. This is something that you can either buy yourself or you can make. And what it basically is a carpet that's made out of used t-shirts, and it's got very long t-shirt ties, and you can like hide little treats under the t-shirts, and they smell until they get the treat, move the fiber of the t-shirt away. This is a toy you have to supervise with, because some of them are just like, I'm going to chew this whole thing, and they just don't get that they're supposed to smell the toy. They're like, I'm going to eat it. So don't use it without supervision. Playdates. Now this is something you do have to be careful with, but my Dogo Argentinos play with a friend of mine who also has a Dogo Argentino. They already know who's top dog, and honestly, they're pretty good about it, but all of our dogs are on e-collars as well for safety, and we're very, very careful with that activity. But under the right circumstance, a play date with enough land and enough activity can be a great way to wear out your dog and provide mental stimulation. Just a little aside, the dogo that we play with, he actually knows the color of our truck. So when our friend was taking him recently shopping with her, they passed a truck that was the same make, same color, same model, and their puppy dog got super excited. He was like, oh, Playdate, that's the car that my friends come in. And she was so sad that she had to like drive away and be like, no, Max, that's not the car. He's like, it is, it's right there, we can play. Adorable, super cute. Number 12, the Pupsicle. So one of the things that you can do, and this is a great summertime activity, is to make a popsicle essentially for your dog. So for us, we like to put treats and then freeze them in no sodium chicken broth. So that gives them something cool, something tasty, and you can put just about anything in the popsicle itself. You could put cooked peas, a little rice, some chicken, whatever it is that you want to have them work at a little bit. And on a hot day, that's a great way to get hydration and flavor. They really love it. You can create a ball pit for your Dogo Argentino. Now, this is one of those activities that's going to require a little bit of specialized fun, but it can be super, super fun. So you can take a kiddie pool, a plastic one, fill it up with balls that you'd see in a regular kid's ball pit, and then take some treats and put them in, usually in the treat dispensing kind of toys, dog puzzle toys, and you just bury those in there and they can play around with the balls and they can smell out the treats, and it's just super fun. You can also do this with water. You can fill the pool with water and put some of those balls, because they generally float, on top of the surface, and a lot of dogs will actually dive for them and play with them and snap at them, and it's just a great time for everybody. Tug-of-War. Of course, you should teach your dog how to play tug-of-war. But if you're going to use a rope toy, always do it with supervision, and be aware that these are very, very stubborn dogs. You've got to make sure that you're not pulling on a tooth that's stuck between the fibers of the rope. You'd hate to pull a tooth out of your dog's head. And you want to make sure that their toes don't get caught in the fibers, their nails don't get caught in the fibers. But as long as you're using it with supervision, I think that rope toys can be a great deal of fun. And of course, they come in a variety of colors, and they can be super cool. You can soak them in no sodium, again, chicken broth, and freeze them, and then that's more messy. I would do that outside. But you can play tug-of-war, and it tastes good and it's fun, and it just is an interactive game using natural behaviors to your advantage. 15, take your dog to a national park. Most parks will allow you to have on-leash dogs, if not throughout the park, in certain sections. And it is not only a great opportunity for you to get some pictures of your beloved pet in a beautiful background, but the smells, both people, other dogs, wild game, it is just an absolute dream come true for your pet. So make sure you take them to national parks now and then. Camping with your dog. Of course, you can actually go tent camping with your dog, and as long as your dog has good obedience, that can be super fun for them as well. If your dog does not have good obedience and doesn't have solid recall, don't take them camping, or conversely, make sure you've got a dog kennel that you can kennel them at night. Alternate toys. I love to keep a toy basket. I happen to keep it on the refrigerator, and I rotate toys once a week so that toys are not always the same, and they keep them fresh, and it keeps my toy budget down because they didn't get that toy all the time. It's only partial, and they just really seem to enjoy that, and it's a great way to keep their toys fresh. Shaping exercises. So what shaping is a type of training method where you take a complex behavior and you break it down into smaller parts. And if you guys want to see a shaping behavior video, I can certainly do that. But you can teach a dog so many complex behaviors using shaping. Flirt poles. I think flirt poles are a great way to play with your Dogo Argentino, but you want to make sure, because flirt poles, if you're having the dog actually jump, can be very hard on the joints, that I tend to think that it's better for older puppies. You don't want to do it with really young puppies, because if they're jumping up and landing, their bones aren't fully hardened yet, and it is terribly hard. So I would do it on a hardscape like cement. I would do it somewhere where there's a little bit of give. A sandy beach can be perfect, and that can be a lot of fun. Agility courses. Naturally, Dogo Argentinos, being intelligent and athletic, can absolutely crush an agility course. So if you have a local agility club, or you want to build agility equipment yourself, it's a great way to get out some exercise and to teach body awareness to your Dogo Argentino puppy or dog. The shell game, number 21. So believe it or not, you can teach your dog the shell game. And it does take a little time to do it, and they don't get it necessarily the first time, but sometimes they do. What you want to do is have your dog sit on either a sit stay or a down stay. You take a high value treat. In my case, that would be dehydrated lung, which they absolutely love. You'll take some plastic cups, put the item slowly down where the dog can see it. Put the cup over it. You have the other 2 cups. You very slowly kind of mix it up and free your dog so that they can sniff it out and figure out which cup has it. And of course, they get rewarded the minute that they find it. And you can make this more difficult as time goes on. You can actually remove them from the room so they don't know which cup it is. You can definitely have a lot of fun using this shell game with a dog. Stuffed Kong treats. A Kong, it is just a vehicle to stick a treat in. There's lots of different brands. Kong is obviously the one that most people are familiar with, but you can stick that in the freezer and that will give chewing activity to the dog. Cream cheese mixtures, tuna fish, peanut butter, any of those things are great. But just make sure that you are taking it away after a certain period of time because you don't want it to get full of bacteria or mold or parasites. You can stick your Kong toy directly in a dishwasher and that can be really helpful. I would pre-soak first and then the high temperature of the dishwasher should do the rest of the work, but those are great. Teach a new word. So just like any other obedience exercise, you can teach your dogs a word. It does take patience, it does take time. It's not something that necessarily happens overnight, but you can teach them, for example, the name of a specific toy. And how you would do that is if you had 3 toys and you were trying to teach the term rope to the dog, spread the toys out, hold up the toy, this is rope, give them a treat. This is rope, give them a treat. Put it in a line, find your rope. If they go to the rope, then you reward them. And that's slowly how you could teach them a new word. That's not the only new word you could teach. You can teach them a variety of things. Anything from roll over to paw, any typical behavior you can teach. And again, that's what shaping does basically, is it takes a more complex behavior and breaks it down into bite-sized parts. You do it in small increments, do small drills throughout the day, and you would be surprised how quickly a dog can pick up a specific word. Number 24, which hand has the treat? When you first want to introduce this game to your dog, you want to have a treat in both hands. Which hand has the treat? This one, this one, this one, this one. And whichever one the dog goes for, there's a treat in both hands. So you're getting that immediate positive reinforcement. That's important when you're teaching a new behavior. You want there to be a fun, positive vibe. You never want to scold the dog. You never want to yell at the dog. You want it to be upbeat and fun, because if you're introducing negative stimulus with it right away, it's not going to be a fun game for them. Be patient, do multiple quick settings, make it fun, make sure there's a reward involved. The next session, there's only going to be a treat in one hand. And again, this is working the dog's brain, working the dog's olfactory sense, and it's very mentally stimulating and helps dogs learn through reward what you're after. So it's a super fun game. You can groom the dog. You can strip dead hair out of their coat, give them a nice grooming, nice brushing. All my dogs love to have their fur brushed, and my dogs are extremely fond of having their ears cleaned. I don't know why, they're very freaky about that. They just think ear cleaning is the best. You don't want to overdo it and you want to be careful about doing it, but they do love to have their ear cleaned, so that is something that we do about every week. The bubble game. Dogs really enjoy chasing bubbles. Now, a caveat, it is so important that you get dog-friendly bubbles. You don't want to use regular bubbles because bubbles can make them feel sick to their stomach and give them digestive issues. So you don't want to do it too much, but bubble chasing is really fun. There's tons of different types of bubble wands that you can get at your local stores like Walmart or Target, and that can be so fun, especially in the summer when it's warm. There's just interesting shapes, interesting colors. Dogs like to chase them. Super fun. You can create an obstacle course for your dog. So if you're looking for a fun way to ease into agility training, creating a little obstacle course does 2 things. It gets the dog used to being touched by strange objects, and it gets the dog excited about a game. So in your garage, you could take some empty boxes, some tinfoil, some bubble wrap, and then an incredibly high value treat, such as a piece of raw steak. And you can hide those different places and let the dog explore, walking over tinfoil, walking over bubble wrap, walking through boxes, and just strategically get those treats scattered throughout so your dog is being rewarded by exploring new textures, new sounds, having its body touched by various things, and has an incredible incredibly yummy reward like steak to help reinforce that behavior, that environment is not something they should be afraid of. Playing with a hose. What dog doesn't enjoy playing with a hose? Of course, you want to make sure that you are using a hose that you would be willing to drink from yourself, that is, free of harmful plastics and is drinking water safe. They're marked that. But you can use a light spray, get the dog wet, let them snap the water. It's a fun way to spend some time in the summer. Number 30, jumping through a hoop. I taught my dog Zeus how to jump through a hoop. It's really not that difficult to do. Of course, you're going to have a leash attached to the dog. You're going to lure it until it puts 1 foot through the hoop, 2 foot through the hoop, goes through the hoop, gets the treat, and eventually you won't need to lead the dog. They'll be willing to jump through it on command. The tennis ball tin. This is an easy game. You get a muffin tin and some tennis balls, and you put a treat underneath some of the tennis balls and kind of wedge them down into that muffin tin, and the dog has to get the ball out of the muffin tin to get to the treat. Super fun. And the one thing I would say is you want to have a dedicated tin to do this because their teeth are so strong, and I would recommend one that is not coated with non-stick. So if your Dogo straight bites the muffin tin, no coating is getting scraped off and he's not consuming any of that. New places outdoors. So if you normally go down Main Street to your library and walk back to your house, and that's the way you take every day, just go a different way. Literally taking a walk in a different area has new sights, new smells, new sounds, and that's really stimulating to your dog. Teach them a new trick. Number 34. You can teach a dog to do just about anything if you break it down into smaller sections. You're patient, you make it a fun game, there's a reward, you don't scold, and you have enough time and patience to do it. So you can teach your dog to shake hands, or in this case, he'll give you his paw, and that can be such a fun activity to teach. You can use that with a clicker as well, and clicker training can be a very effective marker. You're only going to click at the exact second that the dog gives you the behavior you want. Click, treat. It's got to be connected. You can't click and a whole bunch of time go by and then treat. It's got to be a very quick connection to help seat that behavior in the dog. So you can make your dog some jumps, not unlike horse jumping. And at first you're going to take the dog over the jumps on a leash, and then eventually you will be able to direct the dog to jump. Again, you want to make sure that the jumps are something that the dog can actually do and that are appropriate for the age of the dog. Young dogs should not be subjected to really, really high jumps because the impact is quite hard on their joints. You don't want to develop problems before their musculoskeletal system is fully formed as an adult. Sensory box. You can build, if you like, an enrichment sensory box. It's good for puppies, it's good for adults. You take PVC pipe, you make a cube, and you suspend things from that cube. Things that are going to make noise, things that are going to touch the dog, and then in the center of the cube, you want to suspend a treat of some kind. So it's encouraging the dog to go into the box and let different things make sounds and make contact with the dog. And again, it helps build personality stability for them to do that. So you could have everything from, empty coffee cans bungeed off one side of the cube. The other cube side might have plastic rope in different sections, very colorful. A third side might have bungee cord suspended top to bottom, so he has to squeeze through it. Another area might have feathers, and you're just getting used to different senses, different smells, and that to get to that treat in the center. You're trying to get your dog to do something that maybe is mildly unnatural but not dangerous, and to get a huge reward for that, because you're basically trying to teach your Dogo Argentino that all the best things in life happen around you. I want to show you a couple of toys that I think can be fun boredom busters, but they're things that you would have to buy. My dogs really love these type of toys. They find these very stimulating. This particular one is from Kong. It's got a handle so we can play Tug-of-War. It also gives me an easy way to actually throw this because I'm terribly unathletic. But the ball inside the ball, hopefully you guys can see that on camera, so exciting. They will eventually dig their way into it, but they do last a long time. I had a different version of this that was more actually traditionally spherical shape. I think it took them about 1.5 years to get through it. So I know they'll eventually destroy it, but it's super fun in the meantime. I really like these. Again, this one is by Kong. Sensory mats. You can obviously hear this one is a cow. It's got a crinkle material in it. This is a toy that you do not want to leave the dog unsupervised by. My dogs can rip into those literally in minutes. Now, I do have a dog toy budget, and so I know they're going to destroy certain things, and I am totally okay with that. So that's something I do like to supervise because I don't want them to get to the head, get out the squeaky bellow, and swallow it. I hope you found an activity that you hadn't thought of before that will help strengthen your relationship with your Dogo Argentino and be a wonderful boredom buster for your intelligent, wonderful pet. As always, like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below, and have a Dogo-tastic day.